In this video, we're going to talk about the 6 surface reasons that I see most commonly that keeps men stuck. And you guys, I have seen men who get stuck after divorce for 6 years, 12 years. Just the other day, I was on a consultation call with a fellow and he was telling me about 2 of his friends. And one of his friends is 12 years out from the divorce and he still can't move forward. He's still an emotional wreck. I do not want that for you. It is too much pain to be in for too long. So let's get to the root of what's really keeping you stuck. How we're going to talk about the 6 surface reasons, and then we're going to look at what's underneath the surface, what's really going on and driving this. And then I'm going to show you how to release it effectively so that you can move forward. Before we dive in, you guys, I want you to know, like, if you're stuck, you're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just human and your brain is doing what it's designed to do. It's working perfectly. It's just that you probably don't understand why your brain's doing what it's doing, so you're fighting against it instead of working with it effectively. So let's look at what keeps you stuck, the underlying reasons, and how to finally let go and move forward. So the one we started to talk about at the beginning of this video, you're still hoping to save your marriage. That's a big one, right? You keep thinking that maybe she'll change her mind, maybe she just needs time. But you guys, if this is you, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Like, you have to start working with your emotional brain effectively. You have to start healing, because until you get to a place where you feel whole and happy and healthy, there is no chance to save your marriage. It's only when you become that better version of yourself, that whole man, that healthy, happy, confident man, that's what becomes magnetic to her. So if you're waiting to save your marriage and you're not sure, that's a common reason that a lot of men freeze and they don't take any action at all. And it's such a tragedy, because then they really have no opportunity to save the marriage and they're not moving on, and they can be stuck in that limbo for a very, very long time. The second reason that a lot of men get stuck is because if they move on, it means accepting that the marriage is over. If they accept the marriage is over, they have to grieve it. And if you don't know how to handle that grief, or you're afraid that you won't be able to handle that grief, the brain will go to great lengths to avoid it. So a lot of men will just stay in this stuck place where they just really can't quite accept that this has happened, sometimes for years after divorce, as a self-protective mechanism. It's a way of avoiding the grief, because grieving feels like falling into a black hole that you may never come back out of. The third reason that men get stuck is because they're afraid of the future. Divorce introduces a massive amount of uncertainty. What's going to happen next? Are you going to be alone forever? Are you going to be safe in a new relationship? Like, if you do take that risk, are you going to be hurt again? What if nobody wants you? That future that's got so many questions that you cannot answer right now can be terrifying. And for a lot of men, that stops them from moving on. They're so afraid of that future that they hold on to the marriage. And again, they stay stuck in that limbo. And it's a self-protective mechanism. It's a way for the brain to avoid having to face all of the terrifying uncertainties in the future. The fourth reason that you might be staying stuck is because you still love your ex, right? You might still love your wife, your ex-wife. It doesn't feel, you didn't stop loving her when the divorce happened. Maybe it doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't seem like this should be happening, right? You love her. There's got to be a way to make this work, right? And so often when that love is still really strong, it keeps you stuck and unable to move forward from the divorce. Even that one, you guys, that one for a lot of men, that feels like a deep reason. Like that's like the truest, deepest reason. Stick with me here in this video, because in a moment I'm going to show you even the still loving her. That's a surface level reason. What's really going on is much deeper in the emotional brain. The fifth reason that a lot of men stay stuck and can't move on after divorce is because they don't understand why the divorce is happening. Right? From your side, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem necessary. There weren't big enough problems in the marriage to warrant a divorce. And so you just can't, it doesn't make any sense. And so many men tell me, they're like, I just don't get it. Like, the why, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, how do I move forward into this new reality where this totally nonsensical thing can be okay? Right? It shakes up your whole sense of the rightness of the world. It makes the world feel like it's been turned upside down. And it feels like until you get those answers, you can't move forward. And the sixth reason that men get stuck and don't move on after divorce is because they don't know how to be alone with themselves. Right? Maybe you've been with her most of your adult life, your entire adult life. How do you be alone with yourself? And especially if you have a lot of ruminating thoughts, the brain is stewing on the why and asking questions or picturing her with a new partner. All of those painful, intrusive, obsessive even thoughts can make being alone incredibly painful. And so again, that's self-protective. If I move on, if I accept this and move forward with my life, I have to figure out how to be alone, and I don't know how to do that. All of these are really valid reasons. The real reason that you're stuck is because you have two brains, not one. And you're only using one of them consciously right now. You have a logical brain and an emotional brain. The emotional brain is keeping you stuck, and you're staying stuck because you're trying to use the logical brain to get the emotional brain to do something, and it doesn't work. Right now, your logical brain is trying to understand, rationalize, and solve the pain that you're in. And the emotional brain, meanwhile, is stuck in fear and grief and confusion. And the problem is the emotional brain is running the show. The emotional brain is older, stronger, more subconscious, right? It's less in our control. And it's more powerful than the logical brain because it is rooted in our survival. If you hear one thing in this video, hear this: the emotional brain does not respond to logic. It responds to safety, connection, and emotional truth, things that resonate to it emotionally and feel aligned. If you don't know how to work with your emotional brain, you'll keep trying to move forward using logic, and you'll feel like you're just hitting an invisible wall. And this is what most men do, and it's what keeps them stuck, right? The logical brain is working so hard. You might be exhausted because your logical brain is working so hard, right? It's saying, why is she doing this? What did I do wrong? Could I have fixed this? What if I had done X, Y, and Z? What if I do A, B, and C now, right? Will she come back? Is there any hope? How do I navigate the future? Like, it's trying to solve all of these problems all the time. But here's the thing, trying to intellectualize your pain isn't going to move through it. Right? And trying to understand an emotionally driven decision like divorce, right? Trying to understand her motives using logic is like trying to speak English to somebody who only speaks Mandarin. You're trying to make sense of something her emotional brain did using your logical brain. It's really like trying to read Chinese characters using the Roman alphabet. You're not going to get anywhere. You're using, like, it's a totally different language. Another metaphor that might be helpful is if you can kind of imagine, like, you've got the emotional brain and the logical brain in a car, and the logical brain's got the map and it's navigating and it's like giving directions, telling us where to go, what to do. But the emotional brain's in the driver's seat. And if the emotional brain is afraid, if it's paralyzed by fear, you're not going anywhere. It doesn't matter what that logical brain says or does until the emotional brain feels safe. That car's not moving. So let's talk about what actually works. For you to move on, to really truly move on, you don't need more information. You need emotional rewiring. You need to learn how grief actually works in the body. You need to learn how to feel your feelings without getting overwhelmed or pulled down into that black hole by them. You need to learn how to create safety being alone with yourself. And you need to learn how to communicate with your emotional brain so it stops fighting with you. That's where you have to start. We need to learn these things within yourself. When you understand your emotional brain, why it does what it does, and how to work with it effectively, then we can look at your ex or at your wife, and you'll be able to understand her decisions because you'll have learned Mandarin. You'll know how to speak the language of the emotional brain. You'll know how to translate what's going on in her brain so that it makes sense. This is the work. This is the work. Emotional rewiring. It's not easy, but it's possible and it's learnable. Anybody can learn this. Understanding the emotional brain is it's like learning a new language. It's like learning a new skill set. It takes some practice, it takes a little time, but it's something that you can learn. One of my clients came to me about 2 years ago, feeling just blindsided by the divorce. His wife had left him seemingly out of the blue. He didn't know how to handle it. He felt terrible. He couldn't focus at work. He couldn't sleep at night, struggling to be present with his kids. He was shaking throughout the day. He was having such a big emotional response. And he thought he needed answers. He thought he needed to understand all of the big whys. But what he really needed was to learn how to be in the room with his own pain without fear. And once he did, everything changed. He found peace. He built self-trust. He even got to the place where he could open his heart again. This man actually got engaged last year, and he's in a relationship that not only is really powerful and healthy and strong, it feels very safe to him. And he's connecting at a deeper level, and he feels safer being vulnerable in that relationship than he ever has in any other relationship in his life. It's because he did the work to understand the emotional brain. He learned these skills. So if this is resonating for you, if you're ready to stop being stuck, if you want to learn how to do this emotional rewiring, I created a free on-demand training that teaches you exactly how to do that. It covers the real reason that healing is so hard. It shows you how the emotional brain works and what actually works to calm it down, to create that safety and connection and emotional truth, that resonance inside of yourself. And it gives you a 3-step path to move through grief and into peace. By the end of this free on-demand training, you'll understand exactly what's happening inside of you in that emotional brain and what to do about it. The link to sign up is in the video description below. It's completely free. It's on demand. You can watch this masterclass anytime that you like. Please don't put it off, because understanding the emotional brain, that's what's going to get you unstuck. The logic isn't working. It's draining you. It's wearing you out. And you're in a constant battle with your emotional brain. Let's stop working so hard. Let's stop fighting so hard and actually learn how to speak the right language so that you can get that emotional brain working for you instead of fighting against you. You don't have to stay stuck. You just need the right roadmap, the right tools, the right skills. That's what this free on-demand masterclass teaches you. So I will see you guys in that training. The link's in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the masterclass.
Am a version of myself that I really like. And I can't, I don't think I've ever been able to say or think something like that. So I'm really proud of that and really thankful to Rachel and the rest of the group for that.